Okay, which is why we're here to speak to you here today, for you to share with us on the model and also the idea behind Barefoot College in India, because as we know, it's a very unique model whereby it doesn't pay as much importance to paper qualification. And what were the, how receptive were people then to such idea?
See, we felt it was unfair to penalize people just because they don't know how to read and write. Millions of men and women in remote villages in Malaysia and around the world don't know how to read and write. But they have some knowledge and skills and wisdom, which is practical, which needs to be applied and respected on a large scale. And the Barefoot College is trying to bring those ideas, those knowledge, skills and wisdom into mainstream to show and demonstrate that anybody, just because you can't read and write, but anybody can become a solar engineer, anybody can become an architect, anybody can become a communicator, anybody can become a health worker. So why are we not identifying such people in villages? Don't send them to a training institution. Let them be in the village and be role models for the community. Give them the respect that they have for the skills that they have and use them as change agents. So, we believe that it is unfair. Where is it written that just because you can't read and write, you cannot become an engineer? So the Barefoot College is demonstrating not only that, but also demonstrating that grandmothers can become engineers. Today, over 800 grandmothers have been trained who are illiterate, never been to school and college, never left their village in their life, but because of a partnership we have with the government of India, every grandmother who we select from all these 64 countries we've been to, government of India pays the airfare and 6 months training costs to come to India. And we have a partnership with UN Women, with UNDP, and they look after the hardware. So this win-win situation has come up with a barefoot model which is bottom-up, not top-down, which is decentralized, which is demystified, which is decertified. So this is a model that we want to promote for underdeveloped and least developed countries as an ineffective model because the community is taking ownership of the whole process.
And you've mentioned that this model is being promoted in the least developed nations, but in the future, do you foresee that it can also be emulated in developed or also developing countries? Because in every nation, they are the poorest of the poorest people, and they have their chances.
Unfortunately, in the developed countries, we are too hung up on certification. The first thing people ask is, what is your qualification? But you don't really ask, what is your skill? What is your knowledge? What is your wisdom that you have got from your community, from your father, from your whole family? That we want to capitalize on. That we want to mobilize and show that it should be respected and should be applied. And that requires a change of mindset. And to change mindset is a long process. And the only way you can change mindset is to set an example and show that it is possible. So everyone is totally mystified to see a grandmother after 6 months to become a fully competent solar engineer who can solar electrify her own village. And I believe that we have gone to 64 countries, and why not Malaysia?
Right.
So we would like to go to Borneo and select some grandmothers from there and bring them to India in March.
Well, that's very interesting. We'll be accepting, also welcoming such initiative in March 2014. And tell us more about how this model will be used here in Malaysia and what we can all look forward to.
We would like to look for villages which are non-electrified and remote. And I believe Borneo is a place where such villages do still exist. And through NGOs that are working in Malaysia, we would like to go and visit some of these villages and select the grandmothers in a transparent, accountable, collective process. That is the whole Barefoot model. And I think it will work. I don't see why we cannot solar electrify the first villages in Malaysia through grandmothers who've been trained in India.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Banker, and we'll all be looking forward to that initiative
I hope you'll follow the
here in Malaysia. Of course I will,
You
of course I will.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot, there's also a concept of reverse mentorship here, where there's a lot you can also learn from them from the ground up. Mr. Banker, again, it's truly a pleasure to be able to speak to such an inspiring speaker as yourself.